Great, and we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another session of Pro Talks by Superpro. I'm your host, Gaurav Tripathi, CEO and co-founder of Superpro.ai, and I'm back with another amazing Superpro. And as you know, in Pro Talks, what we do is we get amazing professionals who are part of our Superpro community, and the intent is that you get to learn from their journey, from their successes, failures, and hopefully that helps you in your life or your business. So, those who are watching it live, please remember that yes, you can reach out to our guest using the Super Pro page link, which will be shared in the comment and will be there in the descriptions of the videos wherever it goes on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And yes, you will be able to ask questions even during the live session through chat, or if you are watching it later on, you can put your questions in comments and we will route it to our guests and circle back to get the answers from them. Okay, great. So let me present you our today's amazing Super Pro, our guest, Vaibhav. Over to you. Short intro, please.
And thanks, Gaurav. Excited to be part of the system. So my name is Vaibhav. I am founder of MobiGarage. 8 years of experience into consulting strategy. I spent uh, my work experience has been more around working with Fortune 500 companies, especially around healthcare analytics and strategy. So 4 years I've spent in US and couple of years in India. After that, decided to quit my job and started MobiGarage. And here I am with MobiGarage. I was with GT, as he already mentioned, in SOSV Mox cohort. Yep.
Great. Okay. Uh, Okay, let's start from the start. So, Vavo, I know since I was in that closed session for the founders that we had, founder stories, part of the mocks. Um, but yes, I would want you to share because I had liked that journey, the initial part which you had mentioned. So I would, I'm sure others would also enjoy that part. So please, a brief on your very early journey, your childhood.
Childhood journey
Yes.
or my college year journey?
Oh no, first the childhood. I had loved the part where the way you had mentioned in the founder's story at that time.
Alrighty. So I'm from Amritsar, especially from middle class family, typical family. My dad was a businessman into textile, like he still does it, but he never wanted me to get into that. He always wanted me to become a white collar consultant in US or India, and he made me did my engineering from Thapar. I was a kind of a very introvert guy. It's kind of the opposite to who I am now. So I was, like into those. The early days was like all the guys were like 5,000 rankies and 3,000 rankies, and I was the one who was kind of got one of the last seats in Thapar, despite of me having a Punjab quota. Still, I got there, and I was kind of a introvert guy because guys around me, people were like the computer techies and electronic guys, and I was like, okay. But over a period of time, I started getting into these college management fests. So someone told me, you should get into the marketing side of it so that you can get your personality out real open. So I started selling my college fest to people. And there was a time, from one member team, I was having a 10-member team, and everybody knew, like, whenever we are going to the market, we can sell anything without even knowing, we have sold it. So that's how my journey started into
But
these kind of
how
activities.
exactly? Sorry, I'm interrupting you. How exactly was this transition? From introvert to this guy who is all going around marketing the fest and so on. How exactly did that happen? What did you do?
So it was like, there was a senior of mine, Munish and Mayank. They were kind of the overall heads for those fests. And they launched a product called Vedanta during the third year. And I was part of the Vedanta team. And, and that was with, there was an institute called Lakshya Institute uh, by those IITian guys, and we especially designed that product called Vedanta. So my responsibility was to go to college, talk to folks, try to sell this product to principals, teachers. So gradually, I started getting confidence. Earlier, I was like, no, I cannot talk to girls, I cannot talk to the bigger folks. So gradually, when they started putting me in front of them, I had no option other than to speak, and that's how I started speaking. And after a time, it was like, people have to make me get quiet. So then so because I was like, it was kind of philosophical. I more that philosophical thing into that first thing, and that vision and all. So I used to sell that, and then these folks started saying, why don't you get money for the fest? And they gave me a list of 150 companies, and they said, like, you have to cold call them, you have to meet them, and you have to do whatever you can. And during my guess second or third year, I was like one of the guys who brought the maximum money without having any contacts, because my dad, if I tell him, you can just give 10K for the fest, and he'll kind of kick my ass. So that was more like, you have to do everything on your own. So I used to travel to Chandigarh, Delhi, meeting all these companies like Coca-Cola, Videocon, Idea, and all these big companies. And gradually, by end of my third year, luckily, I don't know, I didn't realize like I was into that position. So luckily, they nominated me for the overall student coordinator for my cultural fest, which is the highest position of for a student. And I kind of did that. I manage around 35 lakhs of fest and created that college fest. Yeah, that
But
was it.
along with that college fest, you had a startup as well.
Yeah. I had a startup. So while we were doing, these cultural events, so Munish and Mayank, they told me, why don't we do edutainment and especially specialization around education plus entertainment. So we started Vedanta with all these big folks, Vamsi, Pulkit. I was that time, not senior as compared to them, but Munish, Mayank, Sumit, they were working very closely with them, and we created the entire ecosystem of education. But we never knew, the education at one point. We always believed education will be a boom, but for during that time, it was like people were thinking we were thinking something crazy. And after a couple of for next 1.5 2 years, we worked for it, but then we kind of moved away, because some of my seniors whom we started the company, they decided to pursue their MBAs. Some people wanted to go to US, and now that company, those other guys are still part of it, and that company is by the name of Vedantu, which is a billion-dollar company. So so that's like, I tell them that was the most expensive MBA or your US journey can be. So it was like that's how it started. It's more like a fuck up that we did, but no regrets for that. We now realize we have to continue with our vision and work on it. But yeah, it is how it is. But luckily, as I said, the guys who I was working with earlier, so now they have joined me in MobiGarage, which I'm pretty glad of. I know, like, in next couple of years we'll again take this to another level.
So if I understand it correctly, it's like the senior who had recruited you at that time is now being recruited by you, correct?
Yeah, I won't say recruited because he's still my senior. Everything I learned from him. So even in my company, I still tell him, whatever decisions you want to take, uh, you don't have to, even talk to me on that. You take those decisions. And in fact, some of the decisions around business, I consult with him, because he's still my senior. Because whatever I learned from introvert to extrovert, he's the one, who was instrumental in doing that. But I'm glad that he has joined us. And it's more like, those old days where we had the vision and we wanted to do something. So, yeah,
You know,
look forward to it.
I think there is nothing more fulfilling than than being able to go back in that mode wherein the people that you had worked with at one
Yep.
point of a time you had built something and again you are getting a chance to
Yep.
to build
Yep.
something even bigger.
Yep.
That's always good.
Yeah, that's the main thing because, see, though we don't show, there are regrets, but we feel bad. We are humans, right? So, not bad that we didn't continue. It was bad because, we didn't let our vision, we didn't let us follow our vision.
Yeah.
More around that. We were thinking of a short term thing, but now we are looking at a larger picture. And as you said, it's a good time that we have again come together on the same table and working for common goal. And I'm glad that people are realizing, like, the market we are into has a potential. So, yeah, look forward to it. Let's see how it goes.
So post your college, you started your corporate journey. So how was it? Like you joined where you joined? Was it part of the plan or you just went with the flow?
No, it wasn't a flow. See, I kind of got placed into companies, but I didn't really want to join them because I didn't want to follow what other people were following. So a goof up which I did was, there was another friend of mine. He was working with Grail, and he said, like, why we are like all the team leads from Grail are joining a company called Sharda University. We are going to make it a world class university, and we are going to do research. We are going to get into different businesses. And he said, why don't you join us? I decided to join them. But when I went into there, I was thinking, it will be a proper white collar job with, fancy rooms and stuff like that. And, but when I went there, they asked me to work in a hospital. So they gave us a room in a hospital with some small desk. I was like, what are we doing, man, here? So he said, like, no, it will be fine, in next 2 or 3 months. So I spent 2 months, and then after the second month, I decided to quit it. And by that time, I got an offer from ZS, which is again a boutique healthcare consulting companies into business technology. A lot of people, they tell me, why did you join GS? But like, I cracked the interview, I joined it. It's nothing like, I am a biochemical engineer and there's a proper direction. Like, it's a good question in MBAs where you say, you are a biochemical engineer, but I always wanted to get into the similar domain, but specializing around strategy. So there I used to connect these dots, but like, it was a straight away, interview that I cleared, and then my life at ZS started. It was like a 14-hour job, but as I said, there were some things which came out of my heart, and I became very expressive, extrovert. So in ZS, what I did was, like, 2 months from my start, uh, after 2 months, I was kind of getting a salary which was more than my manager. And I was like, no fuck attitude. Hey, you do whatever you want to. So by the time I left CS, I had 44 referrals on paper, and each referral was worth 40,000. So
Wow.
I kind of did it. The record still is there. Whenever I talk to my wife, she's with CS, and some of the HRs. So my wife always say, every third person is your referral, whomsoever I talk to. But yeah, that was something, yeah, I did it. I don't know how it happened, but it was like 44. It was like more than 16 lakhs. So I was like, hey, I don't care about your bonus, like 2 or 3%. So that was the early time, but I learned a lot because that was kind of, I wouldn't say it was a startup, but it was a small company with like 500 or 700 employees, and everybody was from IIT and beds and all. People were actually very, very smart. So there I got a chance, and they got my H1B visa. And when they promoted me the very next time, the very next month, I kind of quit my job. And Accenture Strategy, they gave me an offer, and I joined that. And the offer was for US. So it was good. I still, I still refer people to CS, not officially, but unofficially. But I feel, the starting career,
Or you
uh,
do you still get paid?
I get like, I have like percentages there.
Wow.
I'll give you people, you pay me this, but not through my wife, for sure, because then I end up getting nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was life there in US?
It was good, I always used to see movies where people are like, I'm having a white collar consulting job. Monday I fly in, and Thursday I fly out. So for the first 2 or 3 months, it was like very good. Monday you are into the client office, in New York or Boston, and Thursday you fly back, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday you can stay anywhere. Maybe Vegas or LA or Miami. You can do anything, and they were paying pretty high as compared to the US guys. Plus, the entire accommodation was taken care of by them. So the thing was that my office was, I was staying in Princeton, where my current investor stays, right on that street only. I never knew will our roads will cross. So my office was like 40 miles from my home, where I took the rental accommodation. but in but in Accenture there was a clause like, if your office is like 32 or 33 miles away from your home, you can stay in a hotel, and they will give you transportation, a car and everything. So I got a Range Rover there, and my salary was there, full-time salary. And then I was getting again some uh, wages, which was like the expenses every day. So it was kind of like, that was like the coolest thing, right? You're getting like a good money, you are getting a car. But then what I started doing was, I started traveling. So by end of my tenure with Accenture, I kind of traveled the entire US purely solo, because I was into that habit of not convincing people to just go with me. So so I kind of traveled solo most of the times. It was fun.
Uh,
But yeah, luckily I got my first mentor, Rishi, there. So he was the guy who was in CS as well, like a corporate mentor. So then he moved to Accenture. He took me there, but he kind of took care of everything for me in terms of settling me down and stuff like that. And then I found another guy, Jim. So he kind of became my guardian kind of a guy. So he and I was in the same project, but he's like 30 years older to me. So I don't know how it happened, but he kind of became a very dear friend, plus a kind of a guardian to me. So I was the one, from Range Rover, I bought a Dodge, and he came down from Philly to my place, and the same very day, and he asked me to return that, because he said like, it's a police magnet. I don't want you to be in any trouble. So he was more like a mom and dad to me there, who was kind of not only taking care of me, but also not letting me do any crazy stuff.
wow.
It was a time, but yeah.
And then what happened exactly during that journey that you caught the startup bug again?
So I was into numismatics, collecting old coins, old notes. I have like, my collection is like more than 10 or 15 lakhs. I don't know. So I have those. I used to collect those 1 rupee notes, 2 rupee notes, 5 rupee notes. And when I started collecting, it was like a cool thing. But gradually I realized, a rupee note would cost you like 3,000 bucks, which is like crazy, right? You cannot get like more than three notes, even if you want to spend it from your pocket. So gradually, what I did was, I used to buy it from eBay, but I got connected with a lot of sellers there. So what I used to do was, I used to buy and I aggregated some of the sellers in Old Delhi. So I aggregated them and kind of brought in with me, and I told them, I'll buy five, and two I used to keep, and three I used to sell on
Wow.
eBay. And I started getting money. So that was not intended for earning or stuff like that. It was more around, you can fulfill your hobby with that. And gradually I realized, there is more to it, and I started making money there. And then one of my friend told me, why don't you sell a tempered glass? And I know a lot of people on this network, they don't know the actual cost of a tempered glass. So so tempered glass costed me like $7, and it goes at like at least at 150 or 200. So I started selling it. The See, again here, the idea was to fulfill that hobby. That's it. No, nothing more than that. And I started making money. And then one of my friend told me, I don't know why, how come these friends came up with these ideas. Hey, why don't you sell a mobile screen? Because a mobile screen would cost you like $1,000, and you can sell it for like 150 or 200.
Hello. Okay, did I lose the connection or Vaibhav lost it? I'm not sure. Okay, we will wait for Vaibhav a bit. We might have lost connectivity. Hey Vaibhav, we back? Okay, he came. He again went to it. Okay.
Hey GT, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yes, no worries.
So I was telling my wife today only that I should be taking this call from my office, and she was like, "No, there is never a power, cut here. Like it's on 24." And I was telling her in the morning, and she was like, "No, no, no, you are fine." And again, that thing has happened, and it happened with me on SOS3 when I was talking to William for the first time. It happened to me, and I was like that was the best discussion I was having, and it kind of went away. But luckily, William, never realized.
Uh,
Yep.
yes, so you were telling us about the ideas from your friends about selling screens.
Yeah. Yeah. A screen would cost you like, $1,000, but the end user customer, they don't know what's the actual cost to it. So he told me, you're selling 100 tempered glasses, and you're making not 110 tempered glasses, and you are making like 700, 800. So he told me, why don't you sell a screen? So you don't have to take care of like 100 shipments. You can sell a screen, and you can make more money. So I started selling screens, and it was going fine. I was earning like 50K extra from it. And gradually, a lot of I hired an intern to take care of some of these operations. I was like, I'm earning, I can have an intern. so so that's how it started. And on eBay I started getting a lot of queries. hey, why don't you fix my phone as well? And so why don't you sell? Why don't you, take care of some of the repairs as well? So what happened was, I used to tell them, you can sell, you can send your mobile phones, and I can get it fixed.
Wow.
And that's how it started, and there was a huge demand coming in. And Pulkit, my brother, he kind of was working with Reliance that time, and I asked him to, take do some cold calling on some B2B platforms. And that's when, Flipkart deal struck. They ordered like 1,000 odd screens from us, which was like 1 or 2 lakhs, and that's how it started, and there's no end to it.
Wow. And while you started, you were still with Accenture in US.
Yeah, I was with Accenture US, and then I decided to, just quit it and come back to India
So what was
and
the
do it
point?
too.
So you were this was something which was going on in the side, was making you money. You were still having a good job there in US, Accenture, everything. What was the trigger?
The trigger was that again, Kida, which was there like couple of years back. So gradually, there was a huge demand, uh, and that came to us without even getting noticed. Like Flipkart ordered it, and it was kind of regular orders that started coming in. So then one of my friends had joined Cashify. We got in touch with them, got few orders there, and then we realized, like, there's a huge potential in the market, and the market is pretty fragmented and unorganized. So there we decided, like, it's now and never kind of a thing.
Wow.
And and the best part was, I had earned a good amount of money that I can sustain for another 2 years without even, doing anything. So then I thought, let me try this. And I looked in Pulkit, and he was taking care of most of the big accounts while working with Reliance.
So wait. What was the reaction of your family on that?
I didn't tell them, you know. So I didn't tell them. So I told them, "Ki, yeah, I'm getting married, but I cannot. I don't want my wife to move to US because both of us should be working together. So let me come back to India for a couple of years, and and once we get the visas together, we'll move together, to US." So that's how it is. They still believe uh, I'm doing like XYZ things with MobiGarage, but yeah, it is how it is.
But as I see it, it's like okay, यार खुद तो कर रहा है भाई को भी ले लिया.
हाँ तो वही था because so what my brother used to do, because he was working with Reliance in one of the refinery. So the game he played was, he started complaining to my mom every day. Hey, I cannot. I have to walk like 5 kilometers every day to go to the refinery. It's like so fucked up. Like I don't want to do this and stuff like that. So my mom told me, okay, well, get you do it. So he got into it, and later, I also said, like, this is not working for me and all. So that's how. But he's a kind of a guy, like, we both complement each other. He's more like a hardworking, the operational guy who can, execute things together. And I was more like, selling it to people. So that's how it happened. And we started with a small flat in Chhatarpur, where we were like two guys working in a flat, and there was like one procurement guy. And that was like in 2018 or late 2018. But now, like, we are 35-member team, and expected to be like another 75 by end of March. So we saw the journey from very scratch. But you can say by luck or by, getting things
I'll go back.
better.
I'll go back to the so okay. The trigger was this, and you came back and you said, okay, you have to do this business. But again, when did you see? At what point did you see that yes, uh, this is a business which is really going to be huge. That potential. When did
Yep.
you see that potential, and what convinced you about that potential?
So see, what was happening was, we started this journey by getting into the supply chain of it. If you see, all the companies started by focusing on the customer side of the business, whereas we started by focusing on the supply side of it. As a result, what happened was, because we were selling screens, we kind of became the only organized player specialized in the mobile spares. And as a result, any kind of insurance company who wants to do repairs or who wants to cater to insurances, or any kind of refurbished companies, they've started becoming dependent on us. And now we have done a pretty heavy lifting of their work, which is like, they consider this to be a dirty work. So as a result, over the period of time, we developed this capability. And not only these refurbished companies, but a lot of retailers started getting aligned with us, especially around tier 2 and tier 3 markets. And then we realized it's a time, and we did all the math, because I was an analytics guy, and I did all those forecasting and predictive modeling and stuff like that, to understand the market. And the first year we did like 1 year of annual revenue,
Wow.
and with a, like, by being profitable. On this forum, I cannot say those gross numbers, but yeah, but with a good profitability. And the next year, which was like last year, we did like 4 CR of total revenue, only from this business. And now, like, we have gone to 80 lakhs of MRR. So during this 1 in 4 CR of revenue, that was the time we understood its true potential, because we were like, everybody was reaching out to us. So a lot of time, people ask me, how do you tap in the customer, how do you acquire a customer? But we never spent a penny on it. The maximum I used to do is to on a LinkedIn, I would just reach out to a guy, and in 3 or 5 days, the deal is done, because that was the need. That is still the need. And that was a phase where we decided to start hiring, and we decided to, like, we understood this is the market,
So
and we should go about it,
talking about market, yeah,
right?
I'm sure this is a question which you have answered to all the investors that you're talking to. But how does the market look like? How big is it when you talk about a market?
So see, if you see in India, only 30% of people have a smartphone.
Wow.
And we as users, or we sitting in Mumbai, Bangalore, we don't understand it. But the reality is, only 30% people have a smartphone, and remaining 70 to 80%, 70% people will be getting a smartphone in coming 5 years or 7 years. And you might be seeing, a lot of these government agencies and people are saying digitizing India.
Yeah.
And digitization can only happen if people have smartphone, right? And that's what we're doing. And with the supply chain that we have, right, specialized around spares. So if you talk about a city like a Bangalore, you can see, there are 400 retailer who is doing a repair or who is selling a phone, and all of those retailers need a spare. So for us, each city is worth 2 CR of a market in
Wow.
terms of spares or phones. So the overall market size that we typically tell to the investor, we keep it low. But it's a $40 billion market, and that's where we are sitting. And we're tapping in the entire retail network. We are getting it. We are bringing them on board with us. So yeah, it's a lucrative market, but yeah, since we started with doing some dirty work for the big companies, now we are in a good shape to do some good work around it.
So market wise, number wise, looks good. But what were some of the early challenges that you faced when you jumped into it?
So see, the challenges are, there are n number of devices, and every month you see like another 5 or 10 devices are getting launched. So what happened was, during the early days, we never knew the market is going to be straightforward. Like, from the outside, you can say it's a typical supply chain kind of a thing that we were doing, but there were like 500 different models, and within each mobile phone there are 30 different kinds of parts which are, there, like a
Wow.
display, a battery, a phone, a ringer, a vibrator, stuff like that. And those kind of, things started kind of put us back, because we never thought, like, we can manage like 7,000 SKUs. And now if you talk to us, we can tell you, like, Redmi battery would look like this and that. But during those early days it was like pretty strainful, but we kind of created a catalog for each and everything. And now we are pretty sorted in that. So that was the biggest challenge.
Right.
And another challenge was the money, right? So money, in the sense, we started this company by putting in only 50,000 rupees,
Wow.
right? That's the only money that we put in. So the working capital was a big crunch for us. So what we did was we started taking some, what do you say, some loans, or we used to take lended money for an interest of like 3% for a month or so. So we somewhere took like 4 to 5 lakhs in first year, and with that money and with our money 50K, we kind of rotated it. And by the end of the first year we were like through with all these things, and we had our own money which was like 30, 40 lakhs lying in our bank, and with which, we kind of made it to another 1 CR. So those were the two challenges, because a lot of people, they started coming to me saying, why don't you raise money? So a guy told me, you don't have to raise money. He was an investor, and I'm still in touch with him. He said, like, your business doesn't need money, you should only raise when it is required, just to scale this. You reach a point, then you raise money. And I followed him, kind of followed him. And that's why we took some of these loans and got it settled. But yeah, that time my parents were like, why the fuck are you taking these loans? You should not be doing this and all. But I still tell my investors that we have only put in like 50,000 in this company. That's it. Rest is all the sweat, the actual sweat, I would say.
Uh,
Yep.
no, I remember when I spoke to you that time, you had mentioned that you even then you are not really looking to raise investment, right?
Yep.
But you finally got in through mocks and
Yep.
raised the investment from SOSV. So how was that journey? What made you really get into that program, and how did you get in SOSV to invest in you?
So see, so one of my friends, Shivi, he was invested by SOSV earlier. The guy Shivi is the founder of Clear Deco. So I was talking to him because I was never serious about raising money. But I knew SOSV from 1 year down the line, and somebody told me, they are nice investors. Though some of those people were trying to
Okay,
earn money out of a
I'll ask
deal,
you to hear.
so so they kind of told me, it's a pretty, they are like nice folks, and but I did a thorough research and I talked to Shivi. He told me, if you are looking forward to some kind of strategic investment, they are the best ones, and they have a good ecosystem. And the kind of the industry that we are into, electronics and mobile, they have a very good hold. And in Taiwan, in China, in other parts, like global, presence that they have. So so that was a no brainer to me, because I knew about those folks from the very beginning. And we had a call. I guess I was the last one who joined that session, like who joined Mock's batch.
Wow.
So like 10 days before to Mock's orientation, we had a call, and the deal got completed in next 7 8 days. So that's how it happened. It was like so fast. And I spoke to William the very first time, and he was like, he had those investors and he was like,
Okay, Vaibhav might have lost power again. Just wait a moment. Thank you.
Hey GT, sorry, yaar.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
I told you, right? This is a bad day.
No worries.
So yeah, so that's how it was a no-brainer deal because they strategically, I still consider them, as a strategic partners to me, and business mentors to me. So that's how I took that decision in like 5 days. Okay, we'll get aligned with you, so that we can use and leverage their network. That was the most important. We still haven't taken the second tranche. It is on the way, but that's all. That was never about the money. No way money was there.
And now, how does the way forward look like?
So GT, typically saying what we are doing is we are consolidating the repair. We are consolidating our enterprise business. So from enterprise, we are typically looking at numbers close to 1 CR per month, and we are pouring more into the retail side of it, especially around tier 2 and tier 3 markets. So we are creating our own hubs. As I said, for us, each city is more than 1 CR of a market. Just hold on, just give me a second.
Sure, sure.
Sorry, GT. I don't know what is happening today. Yeah, so I was saying, for us, each city is a 1 CR of a market. And what we are doing is we are creating a hub in each of the cities, which will cater to an end user customer like you and me who goes for repairs or who goes to buy new devices. But it will also cater to the nearby 199, retailers near it. As a result, it not only solves, the problem of mobile supply chain or supply chain around components, but any kind of out of warranty repairs will be routed to those companies, right? So people are specialized in, warranty repairs, but nobody is specialized around out of warranty repairs.
That's
And
great.
then we are doing, yeah, and then we are doing, we are going to leverage Mox network for some of the application based services. Yep. So that's what where we are planning to have another 10 to 12 hubs by end of next year, and taking our revenues to close to what do you say, around 4 million. So
Wow, great,
yeah,
great, great. So how has
and yeah, we
Mock
are.
helped you really?
So Mox, as I said, the guys are pretty nice, especially William. Like wherever I want um, some of the deals to be cracked, I take him. And then some of the network that they have, it's very wonderful, right? The kind of the companies that they have. So even if you don't have the revenue streams, you can find one or two revenue streams between their network itself. So that is the second angle, wherein they are helping us with mentorship, partnerships. And the third is around the growth. So TR especially, has been pretty instrumental in helping us develop strategies both for short term as well as long term. So that way, they are not like the other accelerators in India, who'll say, "Hey, GT, we'll do this and that." They are the actual, they actually help you and grow you and accelerate you, and that's the beauty about them. So they are more like founders, and they are founder friendly. I have never seen investors be founder friendly, especially in India. So they are the ones, who actually understands the pain points of a founder, and they help you grow that. And that's how, I'm giving my 100% to extract more than 200% out of them. So 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 yeah, so far like it's good.
Great, great, great.
And I'm sure, for people as well, I tell them, you should look out for a brand like SOSV who can actually help you do things at the ground level, rather than, other people who will just give you some theoretical knowledge and, those sessions and just walk away. They're actually,
A set of
they
PPT.
work with you. Yeah, instead of PPT, it's more like a consulting. You just go and speak and just sell the idea. That's it. So they make you implement things, which is a great thing. Yep.
So if you had to give one advice to your younger self, what it would be?
Never regret on things. I don't regret on any of my decisions. I might feel bad one day or the other, but I never regret. Never regret on your mistakes. Learn from them and see what went wrong for you, and just take that learning and move ahead. Because someone one day told me, if you do a mistake and don't learn, that mistake will happen again, and that will keep on happening till the time you learn. And when you learn, there will be some other mistake that you'll make, and you have to learn from that. So that way, don't regret, just learn and move ahead.
Right.
Yep.
And any advice for the other aspiring founders, startup founders?
I would say, see, in the startup ecosystem, it has been a trend wherein people are more focused on raising money rather than doing the actual business around it. So raise at your terms, raise when you need money. Don't raise for just the sake of raising or getting into the news that we have raised money. So build your long-term vision, build your company around it, and then raise money. So create those kind of modes. That's the only advice that I, feel people should take. Your business should be more around your actual business rather than investments part of it. And that's what, even Sean O'Sullivan told me. Profitability and raising money should should be, kept in mind before doing any kind of business.
No. So I'd say focus on business, not on raising funds.
Yeah, raising fund is important, but business is more important. If you don't have a business, you cannot do anything with that money, right? So yeah, that's what I feel. And believe in yourself. I'm the one who has been, kind of, uh, like, more than 50 odd investors have said no to me so far. In fact, more than that. But I never, felt bad about it. Now it's like, okay, somebody says no, I take it like in a happy way. Okay, that's not bad, right? So focus on your vision, and these things will always come, to you rather than you going to them. People will come to you. Yeah.
Hmm, great. Just let me check if there are any questions from registrants. Okay, one question. Yeah. So I think it has been covered in the journey, but again, the question is, why did you choose this sector? Why did you choose to start it?
I, so see, like, everything got connected uh, during this journey, right? From mobile, from, numismatic to mobile. So when I got into it, I didn't know like it's going to be, my bread and butter. But that's how it evolved. There's a huge need. even the guy who has asked this question, whenever his phone is broken, he'll either go to a service center if he has more money. If not, he'll go to a normal retailer. But with normal retailer, he won't have trust. And that's the actual problem, all of us are facing. And that's where we realize like it's a problem which every other Indian is facing. And yeah, so we decided to, just make it organized. But
Second,
it was but nothing like, I was born with this idea of getting into mobile, or one day my mobile got broken and I thought, I should do something about it. So nothing like that.
uh, okay. Second question is, did uh, did your consulting experience help you in starting
Yeah.
up?
Yep. Now, when I had a 3-member team, I was more like, hey, create a deck for this, create me a process flow, right? So, and especially I had experience around, analytics side of it. So from the very first day, we have been capturing data, and now most of the decisions are being taken using that data only. So that has complemented what I'm doing. And since my job was to sell something, to the Fortune 500 clients plus data, so both of them I'm still doing, and I'm leveraging that experience to, grow this
Wow,
further.
great. Yes, so those were the only questions. I think, yeah, of course, we started late, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. So, yes,
Yep.
50 minutes. Great.
Cool.
So, any concluding remarks from you about your journey? What next?
uh I would say, next 1 year is going to be a very critical year. I wouldn't say, the first year was as critical as that, but next 1 year, 1.5 year is going to be very critical for us, which will lay foundation for, next 4 or 5 years. So we are trying to invest in people, more than investing, getting customers. We are trying to invest in people, the actual people who can build this company on our moats, and trying to bring in, very smart folks, especially like Munish coming in, and then there are a couple of new folks who have joined. So we are thinking to have these folks who can build this company with us, and yeah, that's how we are seeing it. We
Great,
are pretty positive about it.
great. Oh, I can say that, yeah, I've been positive about it from day one when I got to know you, really.
And thanks about it. You should talk to some of the investors who are saying no. But yeah,
Great. Great, yeah. Great.
cool.
Thanks a lot, Baba, for
Yeah,
joining in. I'm sure everybody enjoyed it. And when this goes on YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever recorded, I'm sure people will get to learn from it. So what
sure.
we are now doing is we are also splitting the talk into smaller things, Q&A, and making it into a series, a short series, so that yes, it's easier to consume for people who are used to TikTok more shorter pieces of content. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure people are going to love it.
Yeah,
Great. Yeah,
and thanks GT for giving me this platform to actually talk. We have like we do talk informally, but yeah, it's a good opportunity to connect with other folks as well and give my perspective about different things. So thanks for that, and you guys are doing pretty good. I've been following you since day one. I like when you guys after March, like you guys had the first talk. I was the one on that talk. So yeah,
thank you.
so
Thanks. Thanks,
yeah,
sir.
keep up the good work, and yeah,
Thanks
talk to
a lot
you
for your
again. Yeah,
support, Vaibhav, really.
yeah,
And thanks for coming in today and giving us your time. Yes, we'll of course continue the conversation afterwards. But yes, great. Uh,
yeah.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the weekend. Take
Yeah.
care. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you
Good
guys.
evening. Yeah. Bye.